Faces of Truth is a historical biography, a collection of biographies of very famous people in science, music, art, every type of field you can imagine. We chose 101 people, Christians, and we went through nearly 1,000 years, starting with King Alfred the Great and going through Tom Landry. And it took over 20 years to do because of Doug's great portrait abilities. That's really what I call the hook of the book, is the portraiture. But basically, Faces of Truth is to educate people about their history that perhaps they have not received in their education.
It's good for everybody because so many of us are lacking in the information that's in this book. The people who will benefit most from this book are going to be the children and the grandchildren of most of us. These children are going through school systems today that eliminate most of the information that we have in this book. Without this book, their education is going to be incomplete. But the people who are going to benefit the most are the young people, the children, grandchildren, as well as students, even university level students would be able to benefit from this. The information in these books is really, really important. Johann Gutenberg, now probably everybody's heard that name and you know a little bit about him. He's the inventor of movable type in the printing industry, which changed culture totally. In fact, and it's in the little biography, that there was a scientific group that got together and decided who was the most influential person in the last millennium, during the last millennium, who had the most influence on our culture. And they decided it was Gutenberg.
C.S. Lewis is one of my favorites, not only the portrait, but the research I did and the writing. He was what they called someone who could talk to intellectuals and lead them to Christ. And of course his friend J.R. Tolkien, who did the movies, Lord of the Rings and so on, that is current, and C.S. Lewis, who did the Narnia, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and so on, the whole Chronicles of Narnia. He transcends just a pastor, telling you about Jesus. He actually was living it, and he lived it through the process of something that even children can understand, is the Chronicles of Narnia. Even a child can see the redemption story through his work.
This book, Faces of Truth, needs to be on every Christian coffee table home in America. As a father of 4 sons, I want to say that the stories in here make history come alive vividly, colorfully, and memorably. Get Faces of Truth.
Faces of Truth is a labor of love, and it's for all walks of life. It's not just for little kids. Parents, yes, buy it for your kids. They need to hear and read these stories. Adults, you need this too. There's stuff in this book that you've never heard of before. People that have been featured that maybe you didn't know this little tidbit or this historical fact. So get Faces of Truth. You will not be disappointed. It's for every age group, not just kids, but for us adults too.
Faces of Truth is an outstanding, one-of-a-kind, unique book. It tells about how God used common people with uncommon faith in God, with godly character and high moral values, to literally chart the course of history from the days of Christopher Columbus even up until the present time. God used these men and women to establish this great nation. Because there are truths in this book that are not taught in our public school system, I believe every person should have one in their home and should pass it down to the next generation.
I have thoroughly enjoyed this book. It's about common men and women who do uncommon things as they're directed by the Holy Spirit. I'm a grandmother with 7 grandchildren, and I'm going to encourage every one of them to read these inspiring biographies.